Declares it to be 4 o'clock. Today is Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. This is a meeting of the Acushnet Board of Selectmen. Is there a motion to call the meeting to order?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Please rise to the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first order of business is to approve the minutes of June 21st, 2022, and June 29th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Reviewing these minutes, we want to get them out, but also I have talked to the staff. Since this was the first wave of doing these minutes, we're going to change the format.
Okay.
So it'll be a little clearer in the future. It will actually separate between what the various members or people testifying say, so it won't be run on paragraphs.
But we can approve these as is?
It's a bit confusing is what I think what he's trying to say.
So do we want to hold off? I mean,
Motion to hold.
Second.
All right, motion to hold, is there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. First appointment is the SRO Comfort Dog donation. I see our school resource officer, Mr. Cathcart, and Chief Richmond are here.
Good afternoon. I'm
afternoon.
going to defer to Derek Cathcart, our school resource officer, and Melissa Vieira, BJ's.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Derek Cathcart. I'm a police officer in Acushnet, school resource officer. And over the past few years, comfort dogs with SROs have exploded around the state and around the country. So I went to a few trainings and got some information on how to, maybe go about it. I sent a few emails out, and Melissa called me back a couple hours later, and she offered the dog, the training, grooming, soup to nuts to the town for nothing. She's a town resident, she owns a business in town, and she breeds, and we're just here for your approval to go forward with the program.
That's great. I think it's an awesome idea. Is there anybody here from the school department?
I had sent a couple of emails to
Okay.
people that were at trainings and just couldn't make it, so.
Great. Is Becky here?
I'm right here.
Hey, Becky. I don't know if
How
there's
are you?
anything you want to say or offer up. I know Heather Chu is involved in this as well.
I think it's a fantastic idea. I've also been involved with quite a few communities that have now been doing this, and it's a go-go. I think it's fantastic.
All right. Love it. That's great. Well, congratulations. And Melissa, maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Melissa Vieira, or MJ. I own a business in Acushnet called MJ's Pet Training Academy. It's on Titleist Drive. And I also breed standard poodles. So a little bit about the standard poodle. They are known to be an intelligent dog breed. Of course, everybody says that, right? But they do excel at many areas. So these poodles were bred specifically to have a sound temperament as well as sound structure. Their parents are health tested. So we fully expect that this puppy will excel at this type of work. And Officer Cathcart and I have a plan in place to continue her training. So we're going to do canine good citizen training as well as public access puppy training. And we will continue to evaluate her temperament on a regular basis to ensure that she's really well suited for this work.
Great. So tell me, where will the dog live during the, after hours, and would it be with you?
Dog will live with me, yep.
Okay.
It'll work with me, we'll do the training together and work with her every day. I have dogs, I've had dogs for a while, and the training is every single day, the routine, so
That's
she'll
awesome.
live with me.
Well, thanks to you and your family for agreeing to this as well, and I think this is just a great opportunity for the town and for the school and the children who go to the school, our school children, and good for you for doing this. So thank you, gentlemen. I don't know if you have anything you want to offer?
No, I'd just like to thank Ms. Vieira for the donation, Officer Cathcart, congratulations, and thank you very much for your service to the town, and taking care of this fine young little pooch we have here on our hands now. I'm sure that Miss Heather Chu and Miss Tomlinson will take good care of you and helping out with that little pooch, but congratulations to you and your family. We're proud of you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Murray.
I'd like to say the same thing. I'm also pretty excited that both my children will get to cross the street and visit another dog.
Yes.
They spend a lot of time in Officer Cathcart's front yard petting his dog, so it's working out pretty well. And thank you both.
Well, I can just say, with stuff that we have on the agenda and some of the faces I see, we may need a comfort dog for the Board of Selectmen at some point. So keep us in mind moving forward. So.
What's the name of the dog?
I think we're still working on that.
We have a plan to get the community involved, offer some suggestions on names, and we'll go from there.
Right.
And Chief, you're going to appoint the dog appropriately?
Once it's properly trained, yes, we can. Sweat dog, and yes.
Guys, gotta go through the academy first.
Our intention is to set up 1 or 2 social media pages and have some fundraising through those pages, through perhaps sale of T-shirts or patches or something like that.
Wow, that's awesome.
To help,
That's awesome.
again, generate the interest and help offset any cost that may arise.
Excellent.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's anything else that we can do for you, Officer Cathcart, in your venture with the new puppy, let us know. Let us know.
I'll let you know.
Thank you.
And if you need help, we'll come by and offer
Cool.
assistance.
Good stuff.
Okay.
So do you need from us, like, just a ceremonial motion to accept the gift? Is there a
Perhaps.
motion to accept the gift.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Great. Congratulations.
Thank you again, Melissa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does the board want
Oh. My dog, oh my God, it's a female.
Can we get a few pictures?
Sure.
picture of the board?
Yeah, picture.
Yeah, he's gonna wake up, he's not you. Oh, yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll see you again.
All right.
We'll be there.
I think he wants to come back, nerd. Want to stay?
She wants to vote?
No training.
I'll talk to you later.
All right. The DPW, we have, I think we discussed this at the last meeting. There was a question about the fee.
Yeah.
It looks like that fee is in order, correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman. I learned from Ms. Kathy Silver that it's, the only time you get the 90% reduction is when you do an extension off an existing sewer system. If it's already been stubbed, you pay the full amount. So a motion to approve. Second.
There's a motion on the floor and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, we'll turn this over to Mr. Kelly.
Is Kathy here yet?
Kathy's here.
Yes.
All right.
I'll come up for Dan.
Kathy and I were dealing with our ARPA consultant today, and with Nick and Doug, and she has answers for a lot of these questions in my memorandum, and it's a discussion on the RAP-funded project, the ARPA project, and the Chapter 90 projects.
Okay, so I don't know if you were given the information on the proposed RAP fund project or the Chapter 90 projects.
You should go over, it just came in today, so
Yeah,
it
it just
wasn't
came in
in
today,
that.
so unfortunately, Mr. Menard was on vacation, so we just put all this information together this morning. What we're proposing to do on the RAP funds is do Nye Lane, which would be 200,000 approximately, and we have 198,000 in the RAP. So that would do that one road.
Okay.
And then the Chapter 90, we have Mattapoisett Road, which was approved a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it was on.
So that's 450,000 we'll be spending there. The funding going forward, we are suggesting Wing Road to Neuer Street, which would be 88,000. The bottom of Perry Hill, which is 170,000, and Cushing Lane, which is 80,000. Still probably more than we're gonna get in Chapter 90 funding, so we're just throwing these out to you guys to think about if these are the roads you wanna do. We are happy to listen to your suggestions if you have other ideas or other roads, and we can get a cost estimate for those as well.
Well, Mattapoisett's already been approved by
Yes,
the
that
board
one
to
we
do,
can
that's
change.
already in the works to do. So
Exactly.
the other ones that we had listed, Cushing, Noya to Wing, that's that
Wing
S
Road to
curve.
Neuer, bottom of Perry Hill, and Cushing
Nines
Lane
and
are
all
the
that
ones.
with the RAP fund, we could just take that under advisement for now,
Yes.
because we don't have that.
Take it all under advisement, we're just trying to
Take
give
a-
you,
take a
actually
peek at it.
forward this
Yeah.
information.
At one
The,
point, we had talked about Anthony Street.
That's not our Eversource money.
Okay, is that, okay, there's a separate source of funding.
This,
That funding, yeah, we already have Eversource money funded and separated.
The Chapter 90 projects, with the 314,000 we have this year and the money that's in the bank, it's about 825,000. The projects that Kathy listed are about 788,000, so there's about 47,000 left in Chapter 90 money.
Right. But that money coming in, because we talked about the Hamlin Street Bridge, I think I seen that spreadsheet that you
Yes,
had as a
and
note
that's-
on it, so we have to do that road. And I know the bridge is gonna be a year or two in the making, it's supposed to be happening in the spring.
So on June 18th, the state went out to bid. So
Okay.
now we're waiting for the bids to come back in from the state, hopefully within the month. By the time they accept somebody and get it in the works, I'm assuming they are going to start the work next spring, based on everything that they're saying to me. So I'm hoping, because it's been a long time. But then, like you are saying, Selectman Gaspar, we need to save some money in Chapter 90, because once this is done, we want to pave all of Hamlin Street.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of time to review that, because Dan's, we
Yes.
haven't started that whole milling of Mattapoisett Road, and that's a pretty long stretch of road.
We are in contact with the milling company now, and hoping to starting that very
Yeah.
soon.
So maybe we'll take it up on the next meeting, we'll just take it under advisement, the additional roads now.
So I just wanted to put those out, so that gives you the idea to start thinking about them, if that's what you want to approve. And if you have other suggestions, we would be happy to.
Yeah, we talked about doing some patching in certain areas that were really crazy. The end of Middle Road on that shop bend of Peckham, so give us some time to have that discussion. Thank you.
And the other thing I want to talk about is ARPA. So on the ARPA, as Mr. Kelly said, we have had a few meetings so far with the ARPA team. And having spoke to Jennifer, who's our consultant we're working with, one of the things with ARPA is that because it's federally funded, you have to actually have, the engineering group has to go through procurement, which is not something you usually have to do. But with the federal funds, we must do that. We did not do that for NICE. We hired GAF, if we all remember, it's in an article. They began the work, they are almost completed with that design, about 2 more weeks. We cannot pay GAF out of that ARPA fund, but we can pay the rest of the project out of it,
Okay.
if we approve it. And then I'd also like to go forward and do a request for qualifications for an engineering group to do Slocum Street. That's-
Because it's a necessity by the feds.
Yes, and that way their ARPA will pay for the next engineering group we hire. Because Slocum's gonna be a big project. You know, we wanna do the water, we wanna do the road, we wanna do the sidewalks, we wanna make it perfect.
Correct. Okay.
So that's the plan.
And
And we have to come forward and you will all have to vote on the bids for these, but we don't have them yet. And as soon as I do, we'll come back and we'll have you all vote for the contracts.
So the RFQ, request for qualifications, that's what that stands for, from the
Yes.
engineers. And is there any stipulation where you have to pick the
You will pick, when I.
lowest bidder or
There will
something?
not be a
most
dollar amount.
qualified.
Is most qualified. We will
Excellent.
review them and come with our suggestion.
All right,
The
cool.
ARPA group will come with our suggestion, and then as the board, you will decide who the engineering group will be.
Excellent.
And so the board knows, tomorrow, all of us are meeting with the county auditors. And once we have our risk assessment done, then we can go forward and give the county the project description, timeline, and we are looking at, since the county monies have to be expended quicker than the federal monies, that we would look at NISE being paid for with the county funds, and Slocum, which is going to take longer with the planning, to go forward with the federal funds. This is a massive project, but you're looking at phase 1 of the design for NISE is done.
Yes.
Sign off will happen shortly. You'll get the timeline, you'll get the bid documents, you'll get the cost estimate. And so then, and it'll take about 4 to 6 weeks for the county, once we present all that to them, to approve the expenditure of money. And then we're ready to go.
So I think what we need tonight, based on what we were told today, we need the board to vote that these will be the 2 projects that we will undertake the ARPA funding for. You're not approving any dollar amount yet, you're not approving any group, you're just approving the ARPA team to go forward with these 2 projects, if you don't mind.
And we can change if we
Yes.
need to, but we need a vote to say that if we submit these descriptions, and it's a vague description of doing the water lines, et cetera, and the road for NISE, and something that we can change and modify, but it starts them to reserve the funds, because if we don't reserve the funds by a certain point, they're going to reassign them.
Right.
So what's the motion you need?
A motion to approve the ARPA group's recommendation on NISE and Slocum.
So moved.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you
Excellent.
very much, I appreciate it.
All right, next item, street opening moratorium. For those of you who are not aware, the board at its last meeting took swift action to put a moratorium on all street construction opening. There are some provisos there that would still allow work to go forward. However, I think, from what I understand, it's caused quite a reaction from the utilities. Mr. Kelly, do you have any report on that? Must tonight.
Tomorrow, Mr. Gaspar and I meet with Eversource,
Okay.
representatives from Eversource. Comcast has called today and has asked for an appointment.
Okay.
Comcast?
They, according to the Comcast representative, there are a number of areas in town that the Comcast lines are underground and cross under streets. And so we'll schedule a meeting next week sometime with them.
While you're at it with Eversource, if you would ask them about the lines on Main Street, South Main Street, and what the plans might be to ever bury those lines. Just ask them about that.
State jurisdiction, but we'll ask.
Right. I understand that South Main Street is state-owned, however, as we start thinking broadly about about that project and the aesthetics of South Main Street, I think that's something worth talking to Eversource about.
I think Kathy's here. I talked to you. Is there some concern among some of the smaller contractors or about trenching?
So one of the
Small
issues we
sections or
have
something?
is when you put that forward, I had not read it ahead of time. By doing what you did, you stopped me from giving water and sewer permits. Our water and sewer permits are a utility, and it goes through the drain layers, hired companies that are licensed with the town, they are the ones that have to dig into our road to get to our water and sewer lines. By putting in this moratorium that you put in, I cannot issue a permit until these individuals come and see you now to have approval to come back to get a permit from us.
And isn't that a short distance? when
Very
they-
short, yes. They don't dig like Comcast is and everything.
Yeah, all the way down the road.
Right, no, it's just a straight line, because whenever you do water sewer, you wanna go straight from the house right to the water line or the sewer
The
line.
board
Isn't
can
it-
make a motion under the exceptions in the emergency order to have approval for mandated utility work to protect public health and safety, new utility connections to occupied buildings where prior connections are no longer functioning, and repair to water leaks and sinkholes. So you can do that under the work that's under the auspices of the sewer and
sewer.
water departments in the DPW.
We can?
Yes.
So
Okay.
even if it's a house that has a well, so they already have a well that's working, they've now decided they wanna tie into water.
It's a new utility connection.
So it's considered new even though it's not a new house, that's okay.
Yep.
So I
It's
can
a
do all my.
new utility connection, but it would be only for the ones that are for the town utilities.
Okay, for water and sewer, so
Mr.
I don't
Kelly.
have, I can approve.
So we need a motion, a blanket motion authorizing the DPW
Okay.
to approve those.
So can I have a motion to amend?
Well, it wouldn't be to amend this,
Okay,
because this allows you to give that approval.
all right.
So it would be a motion to have, the board approves the DPW to issue those permits for those 3 reasons.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, I'll make a
You're
few
welcome.
residents happy. Thank
But
you.
if you don't wanna, you've got somebody that's doing a house.
Right, and we have a few coming on right now, so I
In need
didn't
of
want.
water or sewer, and you're not letting them trench, so.
Thank
All
you.
right, great. Under old business, we have Heather Chu from the Council on Aging to talk about the senior work-off program.
It's much more fun when the dog's here. So we, as you know, we've been moving forward with this project. In your packets, you have the application that we intend to use along with the outline of the financial guidelines. If you go to the 4th page in, you can see those guidelines. Preference would be given to people who are considered very low income. But we would also accept people who are into the low income category to apply. And what I've done is, Ms. Labonte has generously agreed to be our first department where we would place a qualified applicant. I know she needs help in that office. If Mr. Merritt, he needs help with grass cutting, so if we could find a candidate who, would help out with that. So there's a lot of potential. We already have 6 people on the waiting list to actually apply.
What?
So I think we should start slow, just kind of work out the kinks and then bring everyone online. But I didn't know if you had any questions.
Well, that's great.
No, that's good.
I'd like to, gentlemen, I think, I'd like to see how this works out, because I think next year, we might want to consider during the budget time, a junior work-off, like a junior program, for, we've got a lot of high school kids, students who might, look forward to summer jobs similar to this. They wouldn't get a tax break, but it would be, again, like a youth work program. And I think, there's a lot of talent out there, and a lot of.
I think there's a lot of departments that would benefit from that
We
too.
want to use the summer job.
So we're looking for a vote from the board on the applications, et cetera, and the guidelines for the senior workout program.
All right, is there a motion to approve the senior work-off package that's been put before us?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Great.
And while
Heather,
I,
thank you for working on this.
oh, you're welcome, and thanks Mr. Kelly, because he's been a big help. While I have you, I just want to give you an update also. I worked with Mr. Gasper on a project of installing a handicapped accessible door at the senior center. So basically the type that you push the button and the door's open. It would require 2 doors with the setup of our building, which is the entrance that's most used. So the quote came in at a little bit better than $7,500. I think you probably have a copy in your packet.
Well, we did, yeah,
It came in
I brought-
afterwards, I've got it here, but it's already an approved article.
Correct.
It's a perfect situation. We'll circulate these, but I don't even think we need
No,
the
it was
board's
just more of an
approval to
FYI.
go forward, but we wanted to inform the board and let you know that we're moving forward on that project.
Great.
Thank you, excellent work.
And
Again,
thank you to
Harold,
Selectman
thank
Gasser,
you.
because he gave us the push to do that, so we do appreciate that.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next item is to ratify the interim treasurer collector contract for Maryland
I'm
Council.
asking that the contract before you was a contract for the interim treasurer collector to be a consultant. Today, I had discussions with her, and she would rather be a part-time, non-benefited employee
Okay.
because she is, if she's a consultant and she has to do the LLC and everything because she's a retiree. And it would be a lot easier to be a part-time, non-benefited because she receives her health insurance and everything else as a retiree. And we would be deducting taxes so that we wouldn't have to do a 1099.
So, would it be under the same terms of this agreement?
It would be, well,
Hourly rate and all that stuff's all the same?
a lot less verbiage.
Right. Well, I've read all of this, it looks good.
Yeah, it would be, you're taking out most of the consultant
Yeah.
language, you're leaving in the language about complying with the ethics laws, et cetera, and all the documentation being the property of the town, et cetera. But that's the only difference.
Can we, is there a way we could do a motion tonight to have them
Authorize.
lead the charge to change it into a part-time contract or whatever you need it to be under the
Actually,
same,
I
under
did
the
it
same
this
terms?
morning.
Under the, well, I didn't get time to read it right now,
I know,
so.
but I'll circulate it to the board, and we can, you can approve the concept, and we'll bring her in tomorrow. It's the same amount,
$75 an hour.
yep. No more than 3. I don't need the signature now, because it's an employee. I just need your vote to appoint her as part-time, non-benefited employee.
So move
Second?
There's a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor?
as the interim treasurer collector, correct?
Correct.
Aye.
Great, thank you. If you would, Mr. Kelly, just for the heck of it, right, so we're putting it at $75 an hour. I know the previous collector was making X. If you add in benefits and all that stuff, can you come up with what that position is per hour? I'd just like to do a compare and contrast at some point. You don't have to do it now, but it would be an interesting, look at it. When you add up bennies and all of that, what it comes out to per hour. All right, next item is a ratification of the fire chief's contract. As you know, gentlemen, our board voted to appoint Mr. Thomas Farland as fire chief and EMS director after a negotiation session with the town administrator. We have come to terms with Mr. Farland, and I believe the annual salary, which I think is probably of most interest to those in the audience, is $87,500 per year, which, as you know, the previous chief was making $121, I believe. The board targeted the number at 105 from the budget standpoint. These are the terms that we felt that the job was worth. And so with that, gentlemen, any other highlights in there other than, I think, 4 weeks vacation, restricting carryover, and that's pretty much it. It's a public document. Is there a motion to approve the contract?
Motion to approve and ratify.
Second?
All Those in favor?
The fire chief,
Aye.
Tommy Fallon's contract.
There's a motion on the floor and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, Chief Richmond,
Yes.
you are next up on the agenda.
Good afternoon again. We're here as a culmination, probably a couple months ago, the board requisitioned a list for 2 full-time police officers to replace the 2 officers we had lost to the state police. We requested the civil service list. We had 17 names on the list. Of the 17 people on the list, 7 signed and willing to accept and return applications. And by civil service rules, we were able to consider 2 of the top 5 that signed willing to accept. So we focused our background investigation on those top 5 candidates. And by we, I mean Detective Sergeant Fonts is over in the back, and Detective Brian Hemphill is not here, he's on vacation. I charged them with doing the background checks. Given the day and age that we're in now, we have to do, we always have done thorough background checks, but in the past, when we had the part-time program, we could kind of, we did background checks, but then we had the part-time program that would pretty much be a good evaluation, you know, for the candidates going forward that we would select from full-time. But without part-timers anymore, we're going right into the fray and grabbing full-timers. That being said, the top 2 people on the list, I'm happy to present them here tonight. The first one, Matthew Mello. I'll give you a quick bio of Matthew. He's a current and long-time Acushnet resident. He holds an associate's degree in criminal justice and is a graduate of a full-time Massachusetts Police Academy. He is currently employed as a full-time police officer with another local police department. He has over 4 years full-time experience with that department. His background investigation was impeccable. All his references, as well as his current and former employees, spoke very highly of him, both as a person and as a police officer. Mr. Mello performed very well in the formal interview. He exhibited all the traits that the town would want in a police officer. Good communication skills, he showed dedication, thoroughness, thoughtfulness with attention to detail. He is married with a young family who here tonight. Over there.
So I know the chief introduced you, but if you'd come up to the podium and introduce yourself to the board and to the community.
Good evening, board. I am Matthew Mello. I've resided in Acushnet all my life. I moved out to New Bedford for a couple years with my family, and we currently moved back a few years ago and intending to build a house. And I just thought this move to this department was best interest for my family and myself, and I'm very excited to take on this opportunity.
Great, that's outstanding. Well, glad to see that you're back in the community and you know, with this opportunity before you. I think it's commendable, especially given, you know, this day and age and how police officers are portrayed unfairly, unfortunately. So hats off to you for your willing to step up and serve the community.
Thank you.
In Matt's case, we really are getting a steal. As I said, he has that full-time police academy. So once we go through the prerequisite training, testing, medical, PAT, psych screening, once that's all completed, you know, he'll be able to come on board. His training period with us will be very accelerated, whereas he has that experience. He'd just be training on protocols and and items that are specific to Acushnet or to the Acushnet Police Department. But he's ready to hit the ground running, and you'll see him out and about, you know, sooner than later.
Great. Gentlemen, Shankly, any questions?
Before
Oh, yeah.
questions, could you explain the MOU?
Yes, I did attach an MOU, memorandum of understanding between the board and the union, and I've had conversations with the board offline individually and also with union representatives. And given Matt's situation and level of experience, that MOU would be to bring him in, crediting him with the 4 years of full-time experience that he already has with that other police department in both areas of salary and for vacation time. Vacation time the first year would be prorated and available to him after 6 months. But I think it's the right thing to do. He's a great candidate, and to be able to sway, you know, someone of his caliber away from a department where he's already established vacation time
Sure.
And has gone through some of the steps. To credit him with those 4 years is the right thing to do, and it's what we need to do to attract candidates.
Right. Thank you.
I agree.
Is there a motion to appoint Mr. Matthew Mello as a full-time police officer?
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the
Mr.
floor,
Chairman,
second.
could it be amended to say, appoint and approve
The MOU.
Okay. Is there a motion to withdraw that motion? Is there a motion to appoint and approve the MOU of Mr. Matthew Mello as a full-time police officer?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming to
Thank you.
Acushnet.
Welcome home, Mr. Mello.
Thank you.
All right, next one.
Yeah, number 2.
Actually, let me get a picture.
Hey, Chief, good job on
Maybe
the
we can
recruitment
do
too.
What's that?
We'll do the
Good
next
job
one,
on the
then we'll grab them all
recruitment, too.
together. Yeah, just hang tight, because we'll do a little photo op afterwards.
The second candidate we have is Timothy De Silva. He too is a longtime and current Acushnet resident. He holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He's currently employed by a private vendor that provides armed security at Joint Base Cape Cod. He serves as a supervisor of base security and overnights and oversees a staff of 4 to 5 officers on that shift. He also currently serves the town as a call firefighter. His background investigation as well came up nothing but positive. He did very well in the formal interview, outstanding in the formal interview as well. He's hardworking and focused. He demonstrates very good, excellent communication skills, and I think he's shown a sincere interest in law enforcement and also serving his community. In Mr. De Silva's case, we're going to need to get him into a full-time police academy. So there's going to be some prerequisite, again, testing that we need to get him into that academy. I don't have any definitive dates. Right now, we're looking ballpark of October, November. The formal dates haven't been released by the state, but we're going to get him going where he needs to go ahead of time and get him squared away in the academy, and I can get back to the board with a start date of that academy. But I would respectfully ask the board to appoint him full-time as well, conditionally on getting in and getting out of the academy.
Right, Mr. De Silva.
So thank you for the opportunity to speak. Like Chief Richmond said, I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I'm in a career somewhat related to law enforcement, and I have been serving the town for a little over 4 years in the fire department. I truly enjoy being a resident of this town. Been here since I was born. I've done a few projects in town. I did my Eagle Scout project I did at the Perry Hill Church. I restored the altar there. While I was at Old Colony in high school, we redid the front walkway to the Acushnet Grange, and it'd truly be an honor to continue to help this town and serve this town as a police officer.
When did you do those projects?
The Grange would be 2016 to 2017, and the Perry Hill Church probably would have been around those 2 years also.
Okay, great. Well, what a great contribution to the community then, and you'll make a great contribution as an officer in the town of Acushnet. So thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for serving the town in many capacities as an Eagle Scout. That's quite an achievement. It's a testament to your character, and look forward to seeing you patrolling our streets. Gentlemen, anything?
Nothing? Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Is there a motion to appoint Mr. Timothy De Silva as a full-time police officer for the town of Acushnet, contingent upon all academy and those type of requirements?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Well done.
Congrats.
Maybe we can grab those two candidates. We'll grab a photo with the board.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Steps on that range.
Yeah, you gotta get in here too, Chief.
Get in there.
Yeah, let's squish it in, huh?
Looks good.
Great, thank you very much. Well
Let's
done.
take picture of the kids.
What's great about it is I just found now, right? Yeah. Congrats. How's the house coming along, all right?
We're still waiting on the engineer, so maybe.
Let's see, you want to take a picture of the kids? And the chief?
Again?
There you go. Hey, hey, there he is.
Hold on.
So,
My phone does that all the time.
The moment's rolling now.
Again.
Yes.
Congratulations. Thank you. You know what, point of personal privilege, I see Chief Farland up there. I didn't realize you were up in the audience. Maybe, Chief, you want to come down and say hi to the community as formally as the chief?
Sorry, I snuck in and went up into the cheap seats.
There you go. Well, welcome and congratulations. I don't know if there's anything you want to say to the community. And
Want to thank the board again for the opportunity, and looking forward to it, and hopefully make this town proud.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, congratulations, Chief.
Thanks.
All right. Next item, the long-awaited Lake Street. As you know, we have been going back and forth in an effort to try to improve Lake Street, going on for several years now. And we found out, despite our best plans, that the city of New Bedford owned not only the water, but also the whole complex. And so we have been going back and forth with the city of New Bedford to try and get their attention on an MOU, which would allow us to do work at the property. Most recently, I think it was in the end of May, Mr. Kelly and I met with Mayor Mitchell himself and Christina Connolly, his chief of staff, and we received assurances from the mayor that they would move this up the chain despite a number of staffing issues that they had. And I'm pleased to report that the mayor was true to his word, and thanks to Mr. Kelly's doggedness, they have come back with an agreed upon MOU, which incidentally is almost exactly like the one that we signed back in 2021. The exception
Mr.
of,
Chairman, another person who was involved in this was Jamie Pont, who's the head of their public works in New Bedford. We met with him and Kathy Silva and Dan Menard on this project. And then also your safety committee has met a number of times on the design for the project and will be presenting it to the New Bedford, to Mr. Pont and his committee.
right. And essentially what this does is we're not taking over the water rights or any of that stuff. It just gives us the ability to do work and improvements to that campus like we've been doing for many, many years. But this just makes it legal, and at some point we may want to revisit total ownership, but this is a 25-year agreement, and I'm really excited about it, and this will give us the ability to now move forward with some of the things that we want to do there, to make it safer, make it more resident friendly. For instance,
Family friendly.
family friendly. This weekend I was in Ohio and on a lake similar to this and rented a pontoon boat, and it's just a great experience to be able to do that. And hopefully at some point that would be the vision for that complex there, is that, get kayaking going on and nature trails and things of that nature. So with that, if the board.
Mr. Chairman, if you
Yes.
don't mind, I got a couple of things I'd like to clarify on this.
Yep.
Without having any talk about water rights or anything like that, how are we gonna solve lily pad issues, vegetation issues, and other concerns that are eating up the ponds?
Yep, so we do have a firm that we would have to work with, but again, we would just work with the city of New Bedford for prior approval to move forward with that. But, that would go under the improvements the general improvement category.
Mr. Chairman, the big concern was who would be contracting with Solitude for the chemical remediation.
Right.
And once this is signed by both parties, then the town would be legally able to contract with Solitude and then go forward. Because you didn't have the MOU or MOA, you could not contract as a party prior to this.
So, the only thing that I would have to say as far as the water goes in trying to get rid of the weeds, I think we had one of your fellow committee members, Mr. Daggett, in here talking about that, is using the chemical to get rid of the lily pads and stuff like that, is because this requires us to have insurance to cover and all that, liabilities and all that. I just want to know is the committee explored what we would have as far as, did we do any kind of test in the water or the soil of the water to see what pollutants, if any, contaminants, or
That's
whatever you
part
want
of
to
the
say is,
Solitude process.
get it, have it documented, so 5-10 years down the road, they're not gonna, the city coming back and going, well, that wasn't in the water 10 years ago before you started, right? So you get a baseline now, understanding what's in that water, what the water consists of, so when we start putting chemicals, they won't be, oh, that's from you doing X, Y, and Z, so you gotta get that, establish that baseline, so that's the only thing I would offer up on
That
that,
is
is to
part
make
of-
sure that liability doesn't come back to haunt our taxpayers.
That's part of this process.
Mr. Chairman, Solitude has to come in before the board and contract with the board. So it's you have the negotiation process with them to deal with all those problems.
When we went through the process of actually selecting Solitude, they had to do they did testing and they did all of that to get a baseline and figure out what the right cocktail is, if you will, to remediate the weeds. Mr. Hinkle, you said you had some other questions?
Just another question about the length of the agreement. I think 25 years is a little bit high to jump at. I would say 10, maybe with an option to extend it. Just until we can figure out, 10 years is enough to figure this out, and then we can extend it down the road. I just think that jumping right into 25 years without having all that other information that I'd really like to see involving water and what Mr. Gasper just brought up, I think it's a little premature to go 25 years on that personally.
Well, the thing is, it says the clause is in there unless sooner terminated as in here and provided. So it gives
Yeah, but
both
that-
communities the opportunity to get out of this.
Get out of it, yes, but, that's gonna start right back to square one. Me personally, that's just my opinion. I think 25 years is a little long.
There's an option to-
I guess I'm a little confused. I would think we'd want to have this agreement in place for us to do work there as long as possible, since it's in town.
Correct.
Right, and then to have to revisit this in 10 years, if we put all this work into it, you could have a new change in administration, who say, you know what? We're not gonna do this again, we're not gonna deal with it, now it's expired, we've put all this money and time into it, and then that goes away. Personally, I'd rather see like a 100-year agreement, because then we know it's not gonna leave Acushnet,
Yeah.
right? That all the work that we put into it is gonna be here in town. I would just hate to give them a reason not to do this.
As long as we can get all the other information on the table as soon as possible, I'll be all right with it. But I want to see water tests. I want to make sure that we don't waste all this money to not be able to do anything with the water rights eventually. So I can live with 25 years as long as Solitude comes through,
Yep.
and we can verify that it's worth the town's while.
So here's the thing with Solitude, and with that project, you've got two components. You've got the physical and aesthetic and safety improvements of the campus, right? And then you have the water. So they're gonna be running parallel tracks. The water remediation of those weeds is really, really important. However, that shouldn't preclude us from doing all those other things, and this board will be involved once we get to a point when we're looking to remediate those weeds, this board will be part of that discussion. So by approving this today, and the city approving it, we then can get Dan and the DPW moving on the curb cuts
Yep.
and working on the roads and getting those improvements, because it is pretty, it is unsafe over
Yeah.
there on Lake Street. All right, if there are no further questions, but your comments should be noted and reflected in the minutes and attached to any discussion on Lake Street in the future. And, you know, I have all the confidence that you will be here in this seat 25 years from now.
Let's hope for it.
And so anyway, if there's a motion, can I have a motion on the floor to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion.
We just want to, I think we made ourselves clear about anything that's inside the water current, so that liability is not coming back on us. as far as-
I'll invite Solitude in to address the board.
Sorry, there's a motion on the floor, and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, because of the insurance coverage mandated in the MOU, our intermunicipal agreement,
Yep.
we'll be increasing our pollution. It'll be minor costs via our pollution insurance.
Right, I mean, again, this.
And we're
MOU
going from 500 to $1 million to 1 million, 3 million.
Got it.
So it's very minor. Other than that, we'd be ready to present our insurance to the city as soon as you sign the MOU. The safety committee has met and has a design. We've talked to our legal counsel concerning an issue with an easement and a driveway issue. We've got an opinion from council, and we can go forward with that.
Okay, great.
Because there's an easement right through
Yeah, I
the
understand
middle of
that
the
easement.
property.
So,
That's fine, we're not gonna,
So-
we can't intrude on that easement,
So the
no big deal.
plans will probably be presented to you, the board, either the August meeting or the first meeting in September.
okay, very good. Thank you. All right, gentlemen, thank you for your support. I know there's a lot of folks who were really interested in that project, so your support is appreciated.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, I know that in the past years when we were trying to move forward with this, Linda Taylor
Mm-hmm.
had wanted to make a donation, I think, for some kids'
Yep.
playground or something like that, so if you need that number, I have it. If
Sure.
you wanna reach out and see if that's still, an option for her.
Sounds good.
Save the taxpayers some bucks, or whatever you want.
Right. Okay, sounds good.
Be a great gesture for her and her family.
All right, next is interdepartment transfers. Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Chairman, the assistant town accountant and the interim town accountant have worked on this. We still had a deficit in the legal accounts, and you can see primarily it was a transfer from dollars and cents from a number of accounts to transfer
Sorry, Mr.
into.
Mr. Kelly, I don't see anything in the.
I don't have that.
You guys have anything in your folder?
No, he didn't give us anything about it. You were just gonna speak
You're just
about
gonna
it.
speak to it?
Yep.
I did not have anything.
I have a document here that
I can go make copies.
I don't have the FinCom signed document.
Do we have to do this today? Can we put it off until the next meeting?
No.
No, because the
we have-
15th is here,
Yeah.
and it's gotta be done for the previous year by the 15th of
And
July.
it's transfer
That's how we do it like this.
of $57,000 from various accounts, some of them as low as $1,000 to the legal, to make up
Doesn't
the
do anything to
difference.
the bottom line, we're just moving money around within departments.
From the previous year, so
Yep.
we have to close that out by the 15th, so I make a motion to approve the interdepartmental transfers as presented by Mr.
And we'll
Kelly.
have the, once we get it from the FinCom, we'll have the, you can sign it, Mr. Chairman.
All right, is there a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, great. Next item, the employee.
I ask that this be passed over.
Okay, is there a motion to table?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
In the next item, it's a letter that I signed that, to the state fire marshal. It's a letter of delegation concerning the new fire chief. It's just a pro forma situation. It's in your packet for your information.
Yep, sounds good.
Next item is memo from the police chief concerning a potential deployment of another officer. Is the chief here?
Yes.
Here we go. One step forward, two steps back.
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Oh, that's not true, because we are 4 steps backwards and 2 steps forward, so.
Yeah,
God.
as you know, we had 2 officers going active duty at the beginning of May for a year, both with the National Guard. Well, I got notification about a week and a half ago that a 3rd officer is on schedule to be activated for the same deployment. He would go active on July 24th. I reached out to try to find if there's some sort of avenue to seek relief or stay, for lack of a better term. Not because we're not supportive, and the town hasn't been supportive of the military over the years. We absolutely have been, but because we have 2 officers, 2 full-time officers on the same deployment, and we're about to lose a 3rd officer on the same deployment, which is really gonna hurt us. Any strides ahead we would have made with Matthew in the next month, I think we're just gonna be kind of break even. But I reached out to the Secretary of Public Safety, Executive Office of Public Safety, EOPS, Terrence Reedy. I reached out to him, seeing if there was some sort of an established avenue or path to request, a stay. And his office has been very responsive. I've been back and forth in touch, provided information to them. As recently as, I had a conversation as recently as Monday, but haven't heard anything yet. I've also reached out to the chief warrant officer that had sent the memo out, and got a response later this afternoon that it doesn't look promising from his point of view. I think our only hope now is that the Secretary of EOPS would intervene on our behalf. He has some influence over the National Guard, or I should say influence, but he, our particular situation, he's in our corner. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but we should have, obviously we're gonna have to have a decision relatively soon, because he's due to go on the 24th.
So this is an 11-month leave.
This would be 12 months. He would be gone, according to the memo, until probably the end of June 2023. No later, it says no later than June 2023.
Right.
Could be back a month earlier, but
Yeah,
it hurts us,
sure does.
So that's kind of where we're at. I can, I'll certainly give Mr. Kelly an update as I have one way or the other. The update from the National Guard doesn't look like it. From the Secretary of Public Safety, it's well, I'm hopeful. Don't have a lot of confidence right now in things being reversed at this point.
Gentlemen, I think we're gonna have to have this conversation with the chief for the fall town meeting for a budget supplement for these 3 officers that are going on military leave.
We do, by contract, we do supplement their pay, the difference between the military pay and their pay here. It's not so much the difference in money as it is losing the 3 people.
Well, you gotta fill the shift with somebody else at time and a half, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's where the explosion of overtime comes from. And we're facing the deficit that we faced this year for some other reasons, but.
And I won't hijack the meeting, have the conversation here, but
Yeah.
I was budgeted FY ’23 to send 2 people to an academy, and we're only gonna have to send 1. Even though we're hiring 2, I only have to send 1 to an academy. So there's some funds there where I'm gonna, look at some numbers and revisit the list, and obviously talk with the board. We might be requesting, another 1 or 2, to at least, we gotta get ahead of it. Like long-term, again, I mentioned the lack of the part-time program, or the dissolution of the part-time program
Right.
statewide, and that's really coming to bear right now, so. I'll be in touch.
Smacked on all sides, police reform, military. We support
It's been a long 2.5 years.
our men and women in uniform, but it hurts.
Mr. Chairman, just, Mr. Gaspar reference police reform, et cetera. Chief, I know in the other departments, I think up to 44 officers were not able to be certified or recertified.
None of the 44 work for Acushnet.
Yep.
The first group that were due to be recertified, their paperwork, I had to have everything in by June 15th. The first group were the officers with the last name A through H, which for us, ironically, is more than half the department, so it was a little bit of work, but I got everything in on time, and we got letters back last week. They're all, that initial group is certified, so there's no issue. And I don't anticipate an issue with the remaining balance. They just, for that new certification program, they divided the number of officers alphabetically. So the first, in their minds, the first third, where the paperwork was due June of 2022, the second third June of 2023, and then the last third will be June of 2024. So I don't anticipate with anybody that's working there, there's absolutely no issues, no bumps in the road. So the people that are there are going to be recertified.
Excellent.
So it's a good news.
Yeah.
All right.
Some good news.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you, Chief. All right, next item on the agenda, new business, is ratification of the ASME out of classification. It involves an employee in the paying the difference of $160.58.
It was employee worked out of classification while another employee was on long-term medical. When we did not think originally it was out of classification, I went in and did a study, actually looked at the duties performed by this individual, and yes, she was performing the higher classification duties for a long period of time. This is a settlement agreement because the union did ask me to look at it, and I'm asking the board to ratify it. If you went to a grievance procedure on this, it would cost you a lot more in legal fees. But
Motion to approve
it
the
is
settlement
valid.
agreement.
It is valid because she did do it.
All right.
It's fine.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Good, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is appointment of committee members. We're gonna sunset some committees. This is an important day for us. We've got a lot of dedicated public servants in town, not only employees, but also volunteers. And so with that, I just would like to, before we do this, thank everyone who is on this list, who has agreed to serve the public, to serve the community. What they do is critical to the oversight of the town. Not everybody here is on the paid, is on the payroll, and for those volunteers, really, really important work. So with that said, we'll start alphabetically. I'm just going to read through the committee, the name and the term, and we'll make a motion to approve. I'm assuming all these folks have been surveyed and wish to serve unless there's something absolutely outstanding. So with that, Agricultural Commission, Norma York, Joseph Pereira, Thomas Whitehead, 3-year term. Is there a motion to appoint?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. ADA Coordinator, that's the American Disabilities Act, Mr. James Merritt. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Animal Control Officer, Inspector Rebecca Tomlinson, Ann Easterbrook as the Assistant. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Beautification Committee, Brittany Patello, Eric James, Kelsey Janik, Janine Perry.
Motion to approve.
Your turn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Board of Appeals, to be determined, Tom Whitehead, full, as an alternate. Now, the question I have though is, a member of the Board of Appeals, can he serve on, that was at the zoning, that's the ZBA, correct? Can he serve on 2 boards?
He could, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, because it's not a conflict of.
Okay. I thought, I go through this every year, but I think it's the ZBA that you can't serve on multiple committees, correct?
No,
Okay.
FinCom.
FinCom.
Well, because Bob Brown wanted to serve as the moderator.
But because the moderator statute in the town charter says you can only serve as the moderator.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Is there a motion to approve Mr. Whitehead?
Is he already on it? This guy already
He's an alternate,
Is he? Okay.
he's an
So
alternate
moved.
at this
Second.
time.
He's been an alternate already, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so,
All those in favor?
right.
Motion carries. The Bylaw Review Committee, James Merritt, Pam Labonte, and a member of the Board of Selectmen. Is there anybody on this board who'd like to serve on that?
I think I need to spend more time reading the bylaws and getting up to
Okay.
speed before I jumped on that.
Mr. Gasper?
Sure.
Okay,
I'll do it.
Mr. Kevin Gasper. There's a motion to appoint Mr. Merritt, Labonte, Mr. Gasper.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, and we need three members, so if anybody out there would like to serve on the Bylaw Review Committee, we'd love to have you. Community Preservation, Heidi Pelletier, Robert Gilmore, Evelyn Boulay. Is there a motion to appoint?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Conservation Committee, Paul Valente, Evelyn Boulay, Robert Rocha Jr., 3-year term. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Constable, Frank Adesso, Mark LaPlante, Kelly Tomlinson, Lieutenant Hervey Vandal.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
carries. Council on Aging, Deborah Raposo, Linda Gilbo, Pauline Texera, Heather Chu.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Heather,
Mr. Chairman, Heather Chu is the
Director.
director, and as such, she is on as an advisory role,
Okay.
because the COA
Got it.
is, she works for the COA in effect as well as this board.
All right. Cultural Council is all set. Deputy Building Inspector, Nathan Darling.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Fire Inspector, Frank Knox.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Deputy Wire Inspector, Doug Corrigan, Victor Pereira.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Election workers already appointed. EMA Director, Jerry Bergeron.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The Energy Committee, it's my recommendation that we sunset and delete this committee. Is there a motion to?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sunsetting the Energy Committee.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Enforcement Agent, Board of Selectmen, James Merritt.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Finance Committee, Robert Ferrera, Robert St. Jean, and we got Jackie Stanley's a question mark. Is that's an opening?
No,
well, it's not an opening at this point, but she didn't respond to us and she hasn't attended some
Doesn't
She
meetings.
hurt,
has-
it doesn't hurt to appoint, and then if she wants to resign, she can
Okay.
resign.
she's never been sworn in.
Okay. Motion to appoint.
All right.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The Forest Warden is also the Fire Chief. Is there a motion to?
Thomas Fallon, Forest Warden.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Golf Management Operational Committee, John Avery, Robert Ferrera, David Flynn, Manuel Goulart, Edward Isaacs.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The Herring Warden Assistant, motion to delete.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Historical Committee, Robert Gilmore, Scott Harding, Pauline Texera.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Inspector of Garages, Fire
Thomas
Chief.
Fallon.
Motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Insurance Advisory Retiree Designee, Sue Pickard.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Lake Street Committee, we'll keep that open until completion.
We don't have to keep doing those names then?
Nope.
Kid Bus?
This one, Moth Superintendent.
Damn it. Motion to approve.
Second.
Gotta inspect some moths.
It's gonna go to your wallet first, Mr. Gaston. Old Colony School Committee District Members, Evelyn Boulay.
That you need a joint committee.
Which one, Old Colony?
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I had it on there because we need to contact
Alright, so that's
Mr.
old.
Polanski
Alright.
and the school committee for.
Okay, we'll do that another time.
But that's why I just wanted to bring it up so that way we can, put that on maybe the next agenda or the agenda after that, so we can coordinate with the school committee.
Okay.
So they can come in.
Sounds good, sounds good. Open Space Committee, is a motion to delete.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The Parking Officer, Mr. James Kelly, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Portable Sign Committee, James Merritt.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The Safety Committee. Now, why would you
delete
why are we deleting the Safety Committee?
Because the safety committee per se is a number of department heads, and we thought it would be better as a department head committee, not a committee of the town, because we can come in then with our recommendations,
Okay.
just as the recommendations of the department heads as the safety committee. Unless you want to put each,
I think a name it's good to have, because like oftentimes
because
we
it's
need
part
the
of it,
safety
it's
committee.
part of the job description
Got it.
for each one of those individuals.
Okay. I don't know, gentlemen. I know it's semantics, but I think it's okay to have, refer to it as a safety committee, because I think it just puts a little bit of definition.
If
to
we,
the
are you doing
process.
it so you don't have to post agendas?
Uh,
I mean, 48 hours notice and all that stuff, right?
That is one issue. The other issue is, every time a department head would change, you're going to have to go
Reappoint.
for appointments.
Got it.
Yeah, I could put in that it's, we could have the board separately determine department head safety committee.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine, just
Okay.
rename it or whatever you want, that's what you want to
Okay.
do.
There's a motion to refer to as Department Head Safety Committee.
And just,
Second.
well.
Can we make it ad hoc or advisory or
Yes.
something like that? Okay. The
There you go.
Department Head Safety Advisory Panel, whatever.
And you don't have to name because it's the department heads that
Got
are
it,
involved.
okay. Sealer of Weights and Measures, Theodore Machado.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Shellfish Warden, delete. Motion to delete.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries.
We don't have no
Soil
more
Board
co-authors.
Committee.
I'll have her.
Soil Board Committee, which is essentially the Board of Selectmen, David Warner, Kevin Gasper, Robert Hinckley.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Special Police Officer for New Bedford Waterworks, Dan Menard.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right, Treasurer Collector, we just did that today.
Oh, but no, that, you've got an interim. When you
Right,
get,
so we don't have to take
hire a
these.
treasurer collector,
Okay.
you would have
We
to
don't have to do this
appoint.
yet.
Then when you hire a town accountant, you'd have to appoint them.
Got it, okay. Street Naming Committee, Chief Richmond. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, he's the only one?
And to be determined, it should be Tom Farland.
Okay,
He's
all
the
right.
fire chief and the police chief.
Fire Chief.
Oh,
Second.
motion to add Mr. Fallon, the fire chief, to the list with Mr. Richmond, Chief
Second.
Richmond.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, tax title custodian, explain to me that, Mr. Kelly?
It's part of the job for the treasurer collector statutorily.
Okay, so motion to delete.
So,
Is there a second?
We don't
No,
really,
It just says could be deleted. Do we want to delete it?
it was kind of like a questioning,
Yeah, it's part of
job
the,
description?
yeah, well, part statutorily, it's part of the duties. In a town that had separate treasurer and collector,
Okay.
you'd appoint, but since you have a combined one.
Okay. so
no
it's-
need, it's all legit, legal?
Yep,
Okay, delete it.
Motion to
Motion to
delete.
delete, tax title custodian.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Town accountant, we're gonna hold on that. Town accountant assistant,
Nick
Nick
Monticello.
Monticello.
Motion to appoint.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Veterans agent, Ron Cormier.
Motion to appoint.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And then Mayor Tilcon Capaldi / PJ Keating. Claudio Moco, Bryant Ribeiro, Leonard Cotuzzo, Hugo Pereira, Nancy Franco, Jen Olivera.
Motion to appoint.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, so we cleaned up a few things here. Energy Committee, Herring Warden, Shellfish, Tax Collectors are done. We did the holds. And you appointed all these other ones. All right, good work. Okay, let's see what else we got here.
I will be bringing certain job descriptions before the board that will show the changes here.
Okay.
So that the board can vote to approve those job descriptions and assign the duties specifically.
Okay. All right, next one is Mark Sanarizio. Mark Sanarizio has been a long time, talk about public servant. Mark Sanarizio has been a long time public servant to this town of Acushnet, and has served in many, many capacities. Mark has done great, great work for this town. In fact, I remember Mark in 1992 when I first ran for the school committee. Mark was running for, I think it was a planning board, and we were up on stage together. And Mark's just a guy that, again, always has a smile on his face, comes in here, treats the employees right, treats the staff great, has just been a great, great guy for the town of Acushnet, and it's going to be sad to see him not serve anymore. But Mark, if you're watching, thank you so much for everything you've done for the town over the years. You're just an amazing person, so thank you very much. And there's a motion to accept with regret.
So moved. Is it from all his committees?
Yes. List with you.
Board of Appeals, Community Preservation, Planning Board, Open Space, Stormwater, Board of Assessors. So we've got, he was elected to the Board of Assessors, elected to the Planning Board, Board of Appeals. So yeah, so we're gonna have, there's gonna be openings to the Board of Assessors, Planning Board, I don't know, do we appoint?
We would.
Or does that go
It's
out?
a
Joint meeting with planning.
Yes, I'm gonna say what happens, PM will end up sending us a notice about the openings, because the election, she'll give us the term, and then we would have to meet with either the assessor, like the Board of Assessors
Okay,
and
be a joint
the
meeting.
planning
Planning
board.
board.
Yeah,
joint
We'll submit
joint
there.
meeting.
And we will advertise on social media the
Okay.
vacancies
All
once
right.
Pam gets into it.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to echo those words that you did for Mark Sanarizio. Good guy. I know he was my opponent in the last election, but Mark and I have always gone along to a certain degree. We always seen things a little bit differently, but he's a good guy. He served for a long time in his capacity in many different positions, and he did it with a lot of heart and soul. So to Mark, thank you for your service to the town, Mark. I wish you the best of luck in your future.
All right. Next item on the agenda is to review and ratify the professional agreements. With key personnel in town. I guess we can do them one by one, or I can do them as a bundle and just read off the names. But the first one is Kathleen Silva in the DPW. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Mr. Doug Pimental.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. James Merritt, Building Inspector.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Dana Presbizewski.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Dan Menard.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Steve Tibbles.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Heather Chu.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Nick Monticello.
Motion to approve the newly amended one that Mr. Kelly just handed to us earlier. I had to add some corrections to it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Kevin Perkins, who is the
Motion.
Assistant Superintendent of the golf course.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Rebecca Tomlinson.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Isaac Maniz, Golf Pro.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Lisa Leonard.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Town Administrator's Report. Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Chairman, I want to stress that you have vacancies on the Community Preservation Committee. They need to be filled. I've talked to Chad Leclerc, who is the park representative. He is, because of Mr. Sanarizio's resignation, he is going to chair the reorganization of the committee. We have to have the committee meet vote a budget so we can set the tax rate. And we'll be making sure that happens. We've, as you know, we've discussed the treasurer-collector situation, and we are looking now at advertising once we make sure we have an interim. I have included on the back of my report some work that the planner's doing to make sure that the public has an idea of how to go through all of the developmental regulations and hearings. I also included the town of Swampscott's PowerPoint presentation. Mr. Pimental will be working on one for this town, similar, and we're going to try to make sure that when someone walks into that building, they know where to go, what order to go in, and where they should plan as far as the timeline to get their approvals. So from soup to nuts, the developmental process will become user-friendly.
Okay.
I've met with the golf superintendent, gone over our capital list. They'll be presenting to, once it's approved by the advisory committee, to the board. They're also dealing with that 15th hole issue. I've talked to you about the ARPA situation and the scheduling and what we're doing. And previous in this meeting, we've talked about Lake Street. And as far as the South Main Street tip, I'm going to be drafting a letter to the Commonwealth telling them that this needs town meeting approval, it needs this board's approval, and before anything can be committed to, this board will have to see the designs and the proposal from the Commonwealth as far as your commitment to the TIP project and to, at the end of the TIP project, the taking over of South Main Street. But I do not think the board's in a position now to give a commitment to the Commonwealth. You probably want just them to know where you stand and that you're still considering it.
I wouldn't mind having somebody from Mass DOT come in, talk to the board. I know they've done these projects in other communities, show us some examples of some renderings of what South Main Street could look like, how they've done it in other communities, what those agreements have looked like. I mean, I've long believed that if we're gonna have any opportunity, especially with Slocum Street and tying in, you know, the access to the river and improving the general area of South Main Street to the Fairhaven town line, that considering the takeover of South Main Street is the linchpin for that, to have more control over that road, how it looks, how it feels, how safe it is. I mean, you look today, right, we just gave a moratorium on cutting up roads. What's going on South Main Street today? They're cutting up roads. We have no say over the matter, right? And so I just think the more we educate ourselves about this, I think that's a good thing. And so I'd like that to happen. You know, we can invite Mass DOT in sometime over the next month or so to come in, at least just have a preliminary discussion.
It's, TIP projects usually take a number of years, if not a decade. So, and I know they've just assigned the design team to it, so it'll, I'll contact DOT and see if they can come end of August, September.
Yeah, I think so. All right.
You might want to ask them.
What's that?
Mr. Kelly, if all three of these executive sessions are necessary?
No, just the police one.
The
Okay.
police grievance.
We keep these on as a matter of course in the event that these are topical issues that we have to go in to play. I know we've talked about a meeting in July, for July 27th. I don't know if we want to keep that on the books, gentlemen. What day is that? Is that
July 27th.
It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
No, we put it down.
Oh, July 27th, but we said something earlier.
About
Didn't we, about mid-August or
changing-
something?
About after this July 27th meeting, because we've actually told some people and we have a poll
Whole
here,
hearing.
that after that, the board was discussing changing the
Mhm.
day to a Monday, I believe was the suggestion.
Yeah, we don't have to make that decision now. We can revisit that at some point.
And then there was a question on whether you were scheduling 2 meetings in August.
Right.
Well, we usually do a little break in the summer, right? So if we said if we go out till mid-August, and if something comes up between now and then that warrants the chairman and yourself to call a meeting, we call a meeting, right?
Yep.
That's fine with you, Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
So 1 meeting for August in the middle.
Yep. So we'll look at July 27th is going to be our next meeting. You understand that?
That's July 27th, that's only 2 weeks from now. That would be the next
All right,
one.
when's that poll hearing?
Yeah,
Well-
that's the July
All
27th.
right, so we got that poll hearing.
We just got it for Nye's, street.
Yeah, but
Scott,
that's something we could just
down
come
there.
in and do during the day, right? I mean, if all it is a poll.
Yeah, as long as
hearing.
I
thought we
just
said
need
we
to- I
ain't
just
meeting
need to
till
post it.
mid-August.
Okay.
I'm confused.
Okay.
So if
That's
we have to
fine.
just do a poll hearing, the chairman and the town administrator can organize and coordinate with the 2 members of the board, maybe we could pop in at lunchtime or something and
Okay,
just
All right.
get the poll hearing out of the way. If
that sounds good to
somebody can
me.
be here and we don't have to,
All right, that's fine. We
Deal with
just-
all
That sounds good.
Yeah, we'll just
I
pick
mean,
a date.
anything that's
and-
kind of Mickey Mouse stuff, we can just come in and do a quick 30-minute meeting and
Okay.
get it out of the way so we ain't stacked for 3 hours
Right. Okay.
in whatever heat I'm in right now. Apparently, we need to put an article on town meeting to fix our air conditioning. Just saying.
All right, why don't we do this then? We'll just be
Well,
on call.
It flooded my
Yeah,
office
we're on call.
last week.
Huh?
The air conditioner flooded my office last week.
Well, that's because you got a Mickey Mouse one sitting on the floor.
All right. Gentlemen, anything on your end?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yeah, please.
I was looking back at some old stuff, and I would really like to get Mr. Merritt in here at some point and on the agenda to discuss like a timeline on doing work on town buildings. I think Parting Ways has a couple things that need to be fixed, but I'd like to see it actually put in place and have a
Okay.
nice plan set up, so just for the record, I'd like to get him in here.
Motion to have Mr. Merritt in our next meeting in August.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Action carries. All right, gentlemen, so we will be going into executive session under General Law 30A, Section 28, subsection A3, to conduct strategy and preparation for litigations with the police union. An open meeting will have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body as the chair so declares, and the board will not return to public session. Is there a roll call vote? Is there a motion, Mr. Gasper, to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second, Mr. Hinckley. All those in favor, roll call vote, Mr. Hinckley?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Mr. Gasper, yes, and I'm a yes. We are now in executive session and we will not reconvene.